over in that space, I messaged and said that I don't want to be part of the drama. But now that I'm hearing some of the stuff they're saying, I'm just going to speak on this. They're over there right now saying that the women have no credibility because they're platforming with me because I engaged in revenge porn. And I want to explain what is going on because this is actually oddly related to Athena as well. A year and a half ago, Athena, correct me if I'm wrong, Athena didn't fuck with me and Athena didn't like me. And Tina was being harassed by a dangerous person, genuinely dangerous person. And that person's name was Illist. And Illist is a white supremacist who's gone around calling Tina racial slurs over and over again. And Illist was friends with two people, one named Love Fixes and one named Shane Morris. And these people were helping Illist and basically harassing Athena to the point where there was a live where the three of them were bragging about the fact that Illist had a group of 10 or 20 people who are in Eastern Europe who are white supremacists who would be able to focus their efforts on destroying Athena. And when I heard about what was happening, I decided to help to the extent I could. And so I decided to call out Illist. And that then led to me calling out Love Fixes, and that led to me calling out Shane Morris. And these people, specifically Love Fixes and Shane Morris, are very dangerous people. I strongly recommend nobody in here engage with any of them whatsoever. And when I say don't engage, I mean don't even be in the comments of information that I found out that were very dangerous people. And specifically, I found out stuff about Love Fixes. Love Fixes was a white supremacist who was going into black spaces and buying up hosts' spaces by giving them money to allow him to run those spaces and be racist. Racist to the point where they would be dropping black people who would come up to call out his racism. And there was a number of people who took that money. And they took that money due to the fact that, they saw it as, if a white guy's going to give me money, then I'm going to take that. And it doesn't matter who they are. And what ended up happening was, as a result of that, this person was gaining support among the black community against Athena specifically, and gaining credibility. And I held a number of lives over and over and over and over and over again, calling these people out. And I took a lot of hits for this. I lost multiple accounts. But on top of that, the offline harassment that I went through, I think people in my community know was the only thing I've ever described as traumatic during my time on this app. And what ended up happening was, as a result of me finding this information about Love Fixes, and Love Fixes and Shane Morris are very well capitalized individuals. By well capitalized, Love Fixes is someone who is absolutely more likely more in the 10 million realm rather than the 1 million realm. He is loaded. And the criminal behavior that I reported was connected to how it is they have money. Love Fixes found out that I identified who he was, which is a skill I have. And nobody else on the app had figured out who it is Love Fixes was. And I set a trap to be able to get him to expose himself on a live call, which was AV's live. And I set a trap where AV had this thing that if you end up paying to drop someone can pay double in order to bring them back up again. And then you can pay double again to keep the person up. But once they do it twice, you had to show the Venmo transaction. And so we set it up that Love Fixes would want to drop me because I went up there to expose his racism. And it became a bidding war to get me dropped from the panel, to the point that AV cleared $5,000 in total in that live, but he cleared around about $3,500 from Love Fixes just to silence me. Love Fixes, I can confirm right now, Love Fixes has approached almost every major creator that you know on this app. And if they want to deny it, I will share the receipts because I know, and I know everything about all of you larger creators in all your spaces. I know damn well what it is you guys have been doing. And I know that some of you denied the money and said you didn't want it. I also know, to actually people who are very relevant right now, I also know some of you got computers. I also know some of you got large cash payments. And I know that some of you got your rent paid in order to be able to be paid off by this man to invade your space. And these large creators, some played ball and some did not. And it was a epic period in my life where I was trying to call these people out, and it ultimately worked. Came at a cost. He ended up wanting to destroy my life. This man has spent about $100,000 to identify who it is I am on this app. I can tell you from the FBI that he hired a private investigator to figure out who it is I was. And that's because we had dummy phone numbers set up in order for them to contact, in order to determine whether or not someone was actually trying to figure out who I was and was getting anywhere following any of the alts that I had. And when this happened, one of the things he did was he made public offers to pay $10,000 for anyone who had had slanderous information on me, and $10,000 for anyone who had information to identify who I was. And multiple people played ball. One person is someone called Evil Scotsman. If you've ever seen them on the app, that is someone who was paid by Love Fixes, him and his friend. I think they're called the German Asher, and has trans in the word as well. Those two basically took money from Love Fixes to identify people in my server, meaning they sold names. They literally sold people's names for these people to harass. And when I say harass, the most damning thing that happened was someone was called and was asked, hey, we have a situation where the person called up and said, was asking questions. Love Fixes or someone related to Love Fixes, but no, this was Love Fixes. Love Fixes called this woman and started talking friendly at first, and then started talking about her family, and then asked how a teacher was. So he didn't identify the kid's name. He didn't identify the school. He identified the teacher's name of her child in order to intimidate her. And ultimately, Love Fixes ended up paying $10,000 to the person who's on that panel over there named Bella. Bella took a $10,000 payment in order to come forward and try to slander my name in order to defend Love Fixes, Illist, and Shane Morris. And
glasses. That's her.
I don't think she has glasses, but she's changed her PFP. Yeah. But I can tell you right now that Bella purports to be someone who is pro-Palestinians, pretends to be a progressive. But I can tell you right now that she took $10,000 off a man that she knew to be a dangerous racist who is out to try to hurt me, and genuinely hurt me, physically hurt me. I still to this day don't know what that man was trying to do. And Bella did that. And how she did that was she decided to create this revenge corn fake rumor about me that was connected to someone who is in my server. I've talked on the fact that this person did, in fact, send me schmoods. Consensually, no problem whatsoever. Had no problems with that whatsoever. The problem was I ended up ending it with them. And I ended it with them due to the fact that they were highly erratic and they were making threats against me. And this is all documented. I have all the DMs for this. If anyone in here wants to talk to me, I'm happy to share them. The thing is that I have tried not to bring this person into it because I think this person was being used as a puppet, personally. But if I have to, and if anyone presses, I will. Because I have every single receipt of this person threatening to unalive me, this person threatening to unalive people in my server, this person just being unhinged towards me. And what happened was she then started to, she flipped at one point, and she was doing something with my Discord that I was unaware of how she was doing it. And people in my Discord confirmed that on a group call, I asked people, I have a problem. Someone is messaging me on Discord, but then they're blocking me, so I'm not able to block them. And then they're unblocking themselves so they can message me again. And then they block me so that I'm not able to block them. And it was a glitch. I just couldn't stop her from messaging me and then pulling back. And at some point, she started to send me schmoods where she had taken blood from her body in addition to lipstick and was writing words that I had said on a live on her body. And she then also sent those same images to a couple of other men, non-consensually, explicitly against our consent. Explicitly against our consent. Meaning I had said, leave me alone, like stop it. And then she started sending me the most graphic, gross, uninvited, unappealing material that I have received that was very different than who it is I knew her to be. And when she was doing it, she was saying, you're my cuck now. And then was naming some other guy saying, this person's my daddy. I am now this person's man, and was sending these images in order to harass me and make me feel small and make me feel pathetic and make me feel like I was missing on something. And she would delete these images. So she would send them, then she would delete them. And so I was in a group chat where I took those images and I redacted those images. But I wanted to keep a record of what she was doing because she kept doing it. And I didn't have a way of blocking her from doing it. Those images were fully redacted. There was nothing sexual. There was no nudity whatsoever. And in those messages, I absolutely was mocking that person. And I do not feel bad about that. This person was non-consensually sending me images and videos that were designed to harass me. And I personally am not confused on my principle. My principle is if a guy sends you an unsolicited dick pic, you can send it to the New York Post because you have not consented to that at all, and that person deserves none of your trust whatsoever. And what I can tell you is that when this went down, there were a couple of people who were able to at least vouch for some of this stuff. When we tried to bring those people to talk to Geek, who's the person hosting, and to Art specifically, that they completely ignored the truth, ignored the receipts showed to them, and they started receiving a whole bunch of money from Love Fixes. And we have the recordings of Love Fixes in the comments, sending them a whole bunch of gifts with people in the comments saying that they're not going to take it because the person is racist and they're not going to accept it. And so what ended up happening was Bella, Art, and Geek. Bella got a $10,000 payment. I don't know what Geek and Art were getting, but I could definitely show you large sums of gifts that were being sent by this person that they knew was hunting Athena and that they knew was a white supremacist. And as a result of all of this happening, Bella left my community, left before she was called out. She just bailed. Like, it's not like we called her out. It's not like I've ever tried to like debase her. I had one live where I addressed this a year and a half ago because this was genuinely traumatic. And so I regret to say these people are having this live, not just because they're misogynistic, disgusting pigs, but because of the fact that they don't like me. It's not that they were up there necessarily jealous of Sarah's attention or Carly's attention. They're in there because they don't like me due to what happened a year and a half ago, and they're going to destroy anything that is related to me in any way whatsoever. Now, this revenge porn situation, I can amply show receipts on the fact that it was absolutely against my consent, absolutely sent to harass me, absolutely sent to denigrate me, make me feel small, was not in any way schmexual for me in any way. And it has been co-opted by these people to make it seem that the person doing it was the victim. Now, I'm pretty honest about this. I've talked and I've addressed this before. And if there's anyone in here who doesn't feel comfortable with that, I understand that. That's your boundary. If you don't believe you should ever send redacted images, even in the situation where the person's deleting them, okay, that's your ethics. My ethics is if you send an unsolicited dick pic, I don't owe you anything. But even in this case, I did redact everything. I just needed to keep a record. And so that's the context of what's happening for everyone to understand. It actually oddly ties to Athena and me due to the fact that 3 people on that panel decided to get paid by a white supremacist and take money from them, ended up then hating me, spreading rumors about me to debase me, and have held this grudge for the past year and a half. And I have tried to avoid it. I keep trying to avoid it. But now I hear them saying this nonsense over there right now. And so I wanted to be able to share this information with everyone in here so that people understand what it is. And if anyone ever wants to talk to me about it, you get to do so tonight when I go on my live right now. Well, I don't want to steal Athena, but I'll go on a live in a half hour from now. But I had literally just said I'm taking a 2-week break. That's not, I literally had said this before this, that I'm taking a 2-week break because there's been a lot going on lately. But I'll happily address any questions people have in a half hour. But I did want to share that that is a lot of context is going on. And that's the truth of the matter that happened.
Yeah, thank you. But very, very unrelated to what you said. I got a worrying message with something that you potentially said, and I wanted to ask you if it's true or not, Irish. Did you say that black men grape black women because they grape cases are not taken seriously and alive?
No, I believe what they're talking about, I assume, is this live that took place about a month ago, and this was related to Brizaza. And I'm still confused as to why this became an issue. I genuinely am. But
Mm-hmm.
this was related to Brizaza, who was being inappropriate towards women, I think, and towards BIPOC folk. And I was in that live, and we went and had a what you'd call like a live recap, or like when you're finished with a live and you go to have like a cool down sort of live. And in that live, it was like 4 hours long. And at some point, someone joined the panel. I don't remember who it was. And they took issue with the fact that I do a panel that says false allegations alone rarely ruin lives. And this is a topic that I have vetted with a number of people in the BIPOC community. In order to be as sensitive as possible, we have talking points that relate to the fact that obviously, if you're a black man, you're going to be targeted more, and the false allegation will be more harmful. And this is something that has been exhaustively discussed on our lives with multiple creators. But this person came up assuming that this was a bad prompt or something, and not very happy about the prompt. And when they asked about the prompt, I explained exactly the talking points that we talk about. And I don't know how that's what they got from the talking points. What was discussed was the fact that we said the word alone, when we say false allegations alone don't ruin lives, we say that alone means amplified factors. So, for example, race is one. So if you're a white woman accusing a black man of rape, that false allegation could actually ruin your life. And that's due to the amplification added by racism. That person will be treated differently. They'll be automatically judged. They won't be given grace whatsoever. They'll be more likely to be arrested. They'll be more likely to be prosecuted, right? And then the other point, the counterpoint we said, was that when we talk about it, we also note, however, that when it